The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Jessica Morrison placed both palms flat on the crystalline podium. Her knuckles were white, her jaw set in a way that made even the Crithian War Masters shift uncomfortably in their seats. "Show them again," she said quietly. The holographic display flickered to life, projecting the smoldering ruins of New Harmony Colony. 3,000 souls, men, women, children, reduced to ash by Zelnari plasma bombardment. The attackers hadn't bothered with military targets. They'd come for the civilians, for the terror, for the message. Ambassador Morrison, the council arbiter, began, his translator rendering his chittering speech into flat, bureaucratic terms. "We understand your grief. However, the appropriate response is to file a formal complaint and—" "No." That single word cut through the chamber like a blade. Jessica's eyes, red-rimmed but dry now, swept across the assembled delegates representing 47 species. "For 200 years, Earth has played by your rules," she continued. "When the Hegrath raised our mining outpost on Titan's moon, we filed complaints. When the Vrax enslaved our explorers, we pursued diplomatic channels. When pirates preyed on our merchant vessels, we accepted your jurisdiction, your courts, your civilized approach." She pulled up another image. James Chen, chief of Earth's defense force, standing amid the ruins of New Harmony, holding a child's burned stuffed animal. "Commander Chen found this in what used to be a schoolyard," Jessica said. Her voice never rose, never wavered. That somehow made it worse. "The Zelnari didn't target our military. They specifically avoided our defense installations. They wanted maximum civilian casualties. The Zelnari delegate, a tall being of segmented crystalline light, remained motionless. It was a legitimate response to human expansion into— There were 347 children under the age of 10 in that colony," Jessica interrupted. "Was that legitimate?" Silence. "The Council has 48 hours to deliver the Zelnari fleet commanders responsible for this massacre to human custody," Jessica stated. "If you do not, Earth will consider the Galactic Council complicit in genocide." The chamber erupted. Delegates from dozens of species clicked, warbled, and shouted in outrage. The arbiter banged his resonant staff repeatedly. "Ambassador Morrison, you cannot threaten the Council," he declared. "Humanity is bound by the Charter of Civilized Species. You agreed to resolve conflicts through—" "We did," Jessica agreed. Past tense. "The Zelnari burned that charter when they burned our children." She pulled up a new document, transmitting it simultaneously to every delegate's terminal. "Effective immediately. Earth withdraws from the Galactic Council and the Charter of Civilized Species. We tried civilization. You taught us it means watching our children die while we file paperwork." "This is madness," the Vrax delegate hissed. "You're one species. Young weak, you have no idea what you're provoking." For the first time, Jessica smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. "No, you have no idea what you're provoking." Commander James Chen stood on the bridge of the newly christened EDF Vengeance, humanity's first true warship. Around him, similar vessels were emerging from Earth's orbital construction yards, ships that violated every weapon restriction in the Galactic Charter. "Sir, the Council is demanding we stand down," his communications officer reported. "They're threatening sanctions, blockades. Let them threaten," James said calmly. He'd been calm since New Harmony. Dangerously calm. "Helm set course for the Zelnari home system. Maximum burn, sir," his first officer hesitated. "That's 50 light years. The Council will have time to mobilize their peacekeeping fleet." "Good, they can watch." The ship's drives ignited, engines that human scientists had spent 2 centuries deliberately keeping primitive to comply with Council regulations. Those restrictions were gone now. Humanity's true technological capability, built on innovation, desperation, and the kind of creative problem-solving that evolved from surviving on a death world, was finally unleashed. The fleet accelerated to speeds that made the Galactic Council's fastest ships look like they were standing still. The Zelnari High Command didn't believe the reports at first. One species acting alone, attacking their fortified home system? Impossible. Suicidal. They learned otherwise when 30 human warships translated out of FTL Drive directly inside their defensive perimeter. All Zelnari vessels. James broadcast on every frequency. "You have one opportunity to surrender the fleet commanders responsible for the New Harmony massacre. You have 5 minutes." The Zelnari response was predictable. Plasma fire, missiles, energy beams. Everything that had made them one of the galaxy's most feared military powers. It was inadequate. Human ships weaved through the barrage with impossible precision. Their point defense systems, developed from centuries of tracking space debris around Earth, intercepting 98% of incoming fire. What hit their shields barely registered. The return fire was something else entirely. Humanity had spent 200 years studying galactic weapons technology. They'd learned it, understood it, and then asked the question that apparently no other species had considered. But what if we don't follow these rules? Kinetic bombardment at relativistic speeds. Drone swarms that thought and adapted faster than organic minds could process. Weapons that exploited the quirks of Zelnari biology specifically, designed not for generic warfare but for this enemy, right now. It wasn't a battle. It was an extermination. 4 minutes, James announced calmly. I meant what I said about 5 minutes. The Zelnari defense fleet was reduced to debris in under 3 minutes. Their planetary shields, considered impregnable, lasted another 40 seconds. Zelnari High Command. This is Commander James Chen of Earth. Surrender the criminals responsible for New Harmony, or we will assume your entire leadership is complicit. You have 30 seconds, the galaxy watched, horrified and fascinated as the Zelnari, proud, powerful, undefeated in living memory, capitulated. Jessica stood once again before the Galactic Council, now officially as a foreign dignitary rather than a member. You violated every principle of civilized warfare, the Arbiter said, his voice shaking. Humanity has shown itself to be ineffective, Jessica suggested. Determined? Willing to do what you all were too civilized to do, hold murderers accountable? She looked around the chamber. Every delegate avoided her eyes. For 200 years we tried to be like you, Jessica said. We thought civilization meant rules, diplomacy, measured responses. But we've learned the truth. Your civilization is just a word for species that have forgotten how to fight, how to protect what matters. She turned to leave, then paused. Earth will not rejoin the Council. We will, however, offer protection to any species that faces what we faced. Fair warning, though, our methods are no longer civilized. They're just effective. And if we oppose you? The Vrax delegate asked. Jessica's expression was cold. Then you'll learn why humans evolved on a planet that was actively trying to kill them every single day. We didn't become apex predators by being nice. We just forgot that for a while. She left the chamber. Behind her, the galaxy's power structure began to shift in ways it hadn't in 10,000 years. Humanity hadn't just stopped being civilized. They'd remembered what it meant to be dangerous.